So this is the middle and upper group. I did think like last week, I didn't even, it was just so impromptu. The Holy Spirit, as I started the lesson, started saying, you need to do this. And I'm like, okay, because I hadn't even known why I made it available that day. But there's so many people that reminded me how you have been helped, how you've lost weight. So many people have already made just habitual changes in your life, or your whole family is like just healthier. So, because for me, I'm one of those people who think like nothing I do matters or is good ever. Like, and so I'll like all of a sudden, right at my time when I'm thinking like it's a total waste of time in my life, I'll hear like somebody will just reach out and be like, no, this is great. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know it was helping anybody. But then I think all of us probably struggle with that at times where we're just like, is this even, am I doing any good? Is this helping anybody? You know what I mean? And so with that being said, I thought today, um, we would look at the middle. I'm sorry, somebody just texted me. Dang it. We would look at the hidden areas with pork because when you come to Torah, you're like, I'm doing such a good job. I'm not eating pork. And then you grab a bottle of cheese sauce from the shelf and it didn't say pork, it just said enzymes. And you're like, oh, surely this isn't pork. And then you're like, oh, it was pork. Okay. So, Miss Jeanette, oh, she might be working. I don't know if she can talk or not. She might not be able to talk, but she has one very scary place that pork can be hidden. And so I'm just going to open it up first of all to you guys. Where are things that, like, we've talked about this a lot. I used to have a list of all the things that had pork or not back in 2002. I downloaded the availability of lists then, but it's expanded. They're getting trickier. They're trying to put pork in everything, which is a sign spiritually they're trying to get the sin in your diet, spiritual diet, and also physical. So, where are some places that surprised you where you have found pork?
Turkey sausages.
Turkey sausages. Where do you find the pork in that?
The casing.
hmm Right. So if you buy beef hot dogs, chicken hot dogs, sausages, it doesn't mean that it's actually without pork because oftentimes the casing is pork casing. And yep, there's one hidden place. Where else?
Salad dressing.
Salad dressing. Yep. What are some of the ingredients in the salad dressings that you have found?
I can't remember, but I went onto the Healthy Habits chat to show you guys because I was appalled. It literally said pork in the dressing of one of those the packaged
hmm
salads, like the easy made
hmm
that where they put everything together for you.
Yeah. And you can look at mono and diglycerides. They often have pork, but you need to very carefully read your ingredients but the problem is they hide it. It's not always just in the ingredient list. So where else have you guys found pork that you wouldn't have expected?
Sugar?
Yep. When they process and refine sugar to make it white, they will use pork bone char. So if it's not, even sometimes, so I always use like the organic cane sugar that's more natural because they can actually use bone char and they will use bone char to make the sugar white. But it doesn't have to say it on there. They use it in the back processes. Where else have you guys found pork or shrimp or human? Like, where are some other places you found some unclean things?
Gelatin.
Gelatin, yeah. Like gummies and Jello. Most of those products, if you see a K on it, don't believe that. Jello brand Jello just does a K. That's not a kosher agency. It's not biblically clean. That is pork gelatin. But if it's Circle K, Star K, those companies are pretty um mm, oh, I'm sorry guys, somebody's asking to send the link. Um, I don't think I can. Okay. Is anybody friends with Maria Howell? Maria Williams Howell? Okay. I don't think I can while I'm on it. I don't know because it'll do these weird things. Anyway, people should know, I guess if I have it open, they'll understand that they can't see it. Um, so gelatin, a big one, a big problem where pork is hidden. Yeah, so gummy bears, some frostings will contain gelatin, things like that, and a lot of times they're pork. Marshmallows are unclean typically, right? They have the gelatin in them unless you make your own from scratch. Where else? Where else?
Refried beans.
Yeah, refried beans. What do they put in it, Kim? She knows.
Water
Lard.
filters too.
Okay, wait, good. Kim, what were you saying, hon?
Oh, they put lard in it.
Yep, they put lard in it. Okay, somebody else was saying something else and I didn't.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Water filters.
Yep. So water, your purified water can be purified quite literally with pork.
Oh my gosh. Oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
That's why I
I did
only drink.
not know that. That is disgusting.
It is. And so they will use parts of the bones of pig, is my understanding, to filter it. I try to make sure I use well, we have a well, praise God, but then it can still be in the filters. Um, we don't really have to have a filter. We do have an osmosis filter, but and then I try to do spring water. So at least it comes right from the ground. It can be crazy. And so I always pray. I've always felt not to drink certain waters. And if people have water that's not labeled spring water, I don't take it. I have always felt the Holy Spirit just tell me not to take it. And I've not really understood why. Sometimes I'm just like, okay. And then when I found out that sometimes it can have pork, I'm like, I bet that's why. Because I would just, it's crazy what's out there. Okay, cheese. Cheese is a huge one. So the rennet in cheese can be and used to be made primarily with pork. Now they've switched a lot of it to mushroom based enzymes. So if you see microbial or vegetarian enzymes, that's usually mushrooms. And but sometimes they have beef. So cheese is a big one, and cheese sauces, bread. Enzymes, the L-cysteine, those are unclean sources. The monoglycerides, the diglycerides, those are often unclean sources. So we've talked about that. We've actually gone through the whole video where I go to the store with you. So sometimes you think you're eating bread and you're buying the cheap, crappy bread, but that cheap bread is cheap for a reason. It's unclean, using unclean sources and stuff. This is where, it can get a bit overwhelming. But it does push us off our butt where we can't be lazy. We have to do the research or we have to cook from scratch because the more you get to just ingredients, the less likely you are to encounter the unclean products. The other thing is salt. Sometimes iodine is from, shellfish. So when I milk my cows, I do not use iodine because that's shellfish. So when I milk my cows and I wash the teats, I use water, hot soapy water, and then at the end I use grapeseed oil. I just simply lather their teats in grapeseed oil. If they need a protectant, it's a natural protectant and it does fantastic. But I don't use iodine, so there's no shellfish in my milk. But those are those are a few areas. When you look at your chips, the flavorings, the natural flavors, if it's not labeled kosher, there's a reason, like Lay's potato chips, there's a reason it's not labeled kosher. So don't just assume when you look at a package, well, it doesn't say pork, it's fine. The reason some of those products might not be labeled kosher is because they have been contaminated and in contact with pork or shellfish. So when you see a soup or a broth base, you better call the company. What I did when I opened my store, actually, when I first came to Torah, I called every company and I said, can there be any possibility of this product touching pork, shellfish, or human? I always throw human in there to make my point. Is there any possibility? And I will tell you, if there is, they will, because of liability and them being on the phone, they will have to say, oh, yep, there is a possibility, don't eat it. So this is where some people, I was frenetic when I came to Torah, but you want to know one of the things that helped me? Because I was already deathly allergic to shellfish. So I had to be so thorough in my talking to companies because I knew they would lie. For example, you can get imitation crab still flavored with crab juice. And I had to find all the places that's how I know to be careful of iodine and certain things with iodine and iodized salt. certain products can in fact contain shellfish. And so I had to be very diligent. And so then I came to Torah, then I was already used to being very hyper diligent. So when I would call the companies, I'd be, okay, is there cross contamination? Is there a way that in your facility, the assembly line that assembles this product is going to come into contact with anything else in your facility that has pork? And if they answer yes, I'm like, okay, that product's out. One of the things that people have looked for is the vegan sign, but that again doesn't mean it will in fact be clean. There's a brand of chips that God would not even let me sell this brand in my store. What is the name of that company? Kim Millima, maybe you remember. It was those Pocky. No, it wasn't Pocky. It's a blue bag and they sell like cassava chips and all these things. And one time Kim had brought those tortilla chips to Sabbath and I said, Yahweh told me not even to sell that product in my store. And one person hadn't heard and she ate the chips and she got sick the next day from those chips and she knew the father was telling her, don't eat this. What is that brand?
Siete. It's the
Siete.
siete. Yeah.
Yeah, siete. Is it siete or siete? Help me out.
Siete. It's
Siete.
it's the vegan brand. The beans are vegan and everything, but it's not kosher.
Right.
It's spelled Siete.
Oh, okay. That's why I thought it was siete, but I don't know. So here's the thing. That company came to me to be showcased in my store. I had a grocery store that was all non-GMO, kosher, organic, and Yah said, nope. And I'm like, okay. Nothing on it seemed evident, but I called the company and they do have unclean products in the facility. So when I called the company, they had shellfish or something in there, but I knew the father kept telling me, do not sell this. And I'm like, okay, why? Because it looks on the outward appearance. Isn't this a spiritual lesson? It looks good. Everything looks like it checks the box. But it actually ended up having something in the facility, shellfish or something, and I knew they could be cross-contaminated, and perhaps one of their products or two of them contained those items. So I always stay away from that company. There was a refried bean company that it looked all fine, and Yah kept telling me, nope, and I don't know what it was, but there was something weird in it. So the other thing you'll notice, if you notice a lot of beans you buy at grocery stores that are organic, they will be labeled kosher as long as they don't have salt. Have you noticed that? You can buy the plain beans like kidney beans, pinto beans, black beans. The kosher one or the non-salted ones are often kosher. But if you look at the one right beside it where it says, no salt, that's fine. You'll see the circle U. And then on the salted ones, it won't have it. There's a reason for that. And so if you're buying a product from a company and it's not labeled circle U, circle K, star K, whatever. Oh, look at her doing the Sprouts. Look at her doing like the Sprouts advertisement. Mecca's like advertising Sprouts in her backseat. Okay, anyway, if you are buying a product and it's not labeled kosher and you're like, well, it's fine. I'm telling you, there's the most likely a reason it's not labeled kosher. It's not very expensive to get a kosher rabbi to come in and kosher a product. It's not expensive. And if that company has other products that are kosher certified, there's almost 1,000% guarantee that it's not kosher certified for a reason. Either be it through cross-contamination or something. Now, safe companies, I always hear, again, push Azure Standard because they don't allow any pork or shellfish in that facility. They are Messianic, Torah observant people. And so when you're buying beans, here's the thing. If I buy dried kidney beans, there's not going to be pork. There's not going to be lard in that because they're dried beans. I got to go cook them still. Do you see what I'm saying? This is where if we get the closer to the source of the food and learn how to do that, the easier it is. When I first came to Torah, you guys, I'm not even joking. I laugh at myself now because I was 26, very young, the youngest, and we had a fellowship there of like 40 some people that they didn't know they were like, you know how you guys you find like you come to Torah and people aren't really following Torah, even though they pretended to follow Torah, and they were very into the Judaism type side of things. Well, anyway, we would have these onegs on Sabbath. Do you know how many times? Because I got so sick before I came to Torah for those 40 days where I could only eat whole foods. I would just bring dried beans cooked. And for me, I'm not a foodie, so to me it tasted fantastic. I would have dried beans that I'd cooked all day, and I'd add some carrots and seasoning and like tomatoes and salt and pepper. And I'm like, those poor people probably thought I was the worst cook in the world. But I was just, the Father had eliminated my diet and gotten me back to just whole foods. And so I started to make all our food from scratch that I didn't I wasn't yet putting together the complexities with flavors and so adding the butter back in and the salt. I was just eating very, very, very minimal food because the Father took me back to the basics. Because everything, I was allergic to everything for those 40 days. Were so then as I was introducing new foods and he cleansed my body from all the years of smoking and GMOs and all that stuff. Well, they didn't have GMOs then yet, but primarily they didn't. But you know what I'm saying? I remember laughing that, oh my gosh, like I would just bring a kettle of beans thinking that everybody, and Jim's like finally one day, he's like, Mel, nobody wants beans. Like nobody wants just beans. But the more you are in tune with Yah, the more you come to that place of surrender, you actually do realize that the food tastes good, just the food. Like yesterday, I opened up a bag of lettuce and I'm just like munching it. And my husband's like, I could not do that. And I'm just craving it. My mouth started salivating when I saw those lettuce leaves. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is like the best food in the world. But see, my palate was cleansed back to ground zero. My palate was cleansed back to what? The Garden of Eden. My palate was cleansed back to wanting and craving the pure food, the pureness of Yah. I don't need it complex. I don't need it flavored up. At that point, I really saw the spiritual implication in it where I just wanted the food that he had for me. Simple and pure, the ingredient list. And so as you get closer to Yah in that place of surrender, he often takes you to these places because first of all, it protects you while you don't know where the shellfish or the pork is, and you're not having to call every company. You're in this place of surrender and humility, and you got dried beans. Well, cook the dried beans in your crock pot all day or on the stove top. You got beans. You knew what was in there, beans, and salt. You made sure it's like the kosher salt or the Celtic salt or a pure salt. You're like, there's nothing in this salt. So we were just talking about Cass, and you guys missed it a little bit, how purified water can be purified with pork. And I only drink spring water. Sugar can be purified with pork. Cheese can contain pork. Bread can contain pork. So any of those packaged shelving items can contain pork in the form of monoglycerides, diglycerides, sorbates, polysorbates. All these things can have bad stuff. Enzymes, gelatin, so we don't just eat gummies. So there's all sorts of things where if you take it, we were talking about if you take it back to ground zero and start eating ingredients, you're looking at lettuce, that's not pork. Now here's where you have to be careful because at a grocery store, when they are processing or touching your food, this is where, again, you have to call the facility because simply because it says it's fine or looks fine, I call the facility to make sure there's no cross-contamination. Is there any possibility of these items touching? And they don't have to label it as pork. They don't have to. And so the other thing after COVID, remember the government relaxed the food laws. And so they could do like, if it was really gross, they could substitute like 15% of the products or something like that with some insane number that they could substitute without declaring it on their labels, without changing their labels. So you wouldn't even know that was in there. You know how they started to put soybean oil in with the olive oils and the government allowed it after after the COVID epidemic because they were like, well, there's such supply issues and shortages. So we're letting these companies do it so we can keep production going. Go ahead, Cass.
Does that include things that are kosher certified, or you're talking about like the deli and the bakery?
It was just anything. It was anything.
But
So
I meant like if it's kosher certified, it can be cut with pork still?
well, typically they would try to have it, what the mandate was and I don't have the law pulled up here, but it had to be similar enough. So if it was olive oil, it was soybean oil. But like for somebody like me who doesn't want soybean oil because I don't want GMOs in my food, and typically like if it's organic, it's organic. But we have a very close friend who worked at some of those facilities who will tell you even behind the scenes they mess up and they lie all the time. I'm not going to out him, but some of you know him. He used to live by Yesenia. He worked in those food facilities, and like he said, he goes, they'll say they'll put regular milk in with organic, and sometimes label it organic, and that's the whole thing. It's like when Yeshua returns, we're going to be so thankful because we're going to be back to the ground roots of our food. And of course we have to trust, and many people right now, we understand we're scattered. One of the curses put upon the children of Israel was they would eat unclean foods as a curse, as a punishment. So pray diligently. Like I was saying, that Sieta brand, Yahweh has always said, don't touch it, don't eat it, don't sell it. It looks fine, says vegan, but it's not. So call the companies, make sure it's fine. I mean, it is vegan, but there's something that even my daughter-in-law got sick from when she ingested it. You know, it looks fine by the outside, but Yah said no to me. And so I always trust that voice. Okay, that's just a quick rundown. So watch your sugar. So if you have a product that's not kosher certified and you're like, everything looks good, but it has sugar, stay away from it. If it has any of these other products, stay away from it. If it just has cheese, and if it doesn't say kosher, there's probably a reason. But remember, rabbis will kosher certify GMOs. Rabbis don't care about that. And a lot of the GMOs, a lot of the genetically modified organisms, there are cross contaminants of unclean items, natural flavors. Natural flavors can come from cat anus. I kid you not. I really would rather not have that in my diet. Beaver glands to make vanilla. I would rather, you know, I'm just not like that. And some of y'all, one of my very good, lovely friends was cleaning out sheep intestine the other day to stuff with sausage. I'm like, no, thank you ever. No, 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 a solid N-O. Okay, so not doing it. Like what I always do when I make my sausage, I just form it by hand. So we make little, you know, when we flavor and stuff our sausages, we take some antelope or whatever we had caught. We didn't caught, but I changed the word. So don't, because Cassandra thought she could go catch, what was that when she moved here last year? They were going to go catch an elk or catch some deer. I'm like, you don't catch deer or elk. You hunt them. But little Miss Floridian princess here. So anyway, what I take is the ground meat that I'm using, and we don't cut it with pork. But I mix it and with the flavorings, and then I just form it into like a log. And then you can kind of slow cook it in your oven so it smokes through, and then I slice it and sizzle it in the morning. I don't use casings. You don't need casings. You can take, so at my restaurant, I used to make some really cool lamb sausages with no casings. I would put it in cheesecloth, form it and cook it, and you boil it until it comes together. And then when you take it out and you sear it, oh my goodness, they're amazing. Everybody loves them. So there's ways to do it without casings. And my husband one time at Costco, he's like, oh my gosh, that looks good. Look, it says organic and chicken. Turned it around and boom, pork in a pork casing. So you always really have to watch. And I know that that's the sign of us. We get lukewarm or we think something's okay or this is okay. And spiritually, it's not. Okay, now I'm going to open it up for questions. Last time we didn't have a lot of time for questions. I know some of you are kicking butt. Oh, Cass did such a good job. Let's all celebrate because Cassandra and Heather did this really good walk yesterday. They pushed themselves up to the top of this beautiful canyon and she made it. It was like awesome. She was she was determined. That girl was determined because when I met Cass before, she would have been like, ain't no way I'm doing that. You go shove that. I ain't doing up that. I'm not going up that. That was the old Cass. The new Cass, the butterfly Cass, the tender, gentle lily Cass came out yesterday and was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And she did a great job. She didn't even go too slow. Okay, Tristan.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, just don't die while you're driving.
I won't. I'm sitting in traffic anyway. So I'm having I backslid and the Lord was telling me yesterday on what I needed to do and what it meant and all the things. But I don't know, how did you prep when you traveled? That
That's a
seems
good idea.
to like really stress me out because I'll have everything, but then I won't have the dinner because I wasn't planning on being there for dinner, but it kind of like threw me off. So I'm not really sure, maybe some ideas or something like for that. And then I need to know queso dip because I'm telling you, I should have been born Spanish because all the Spanish food, I love it. Love it.
Okay,
Love it.
so I first of all, before I forget, so here's I did this a couple months ago, and even some I don't think Cass has tried it, but my Latino, some of my friends, I took regular organic cream cheese and a tiny bit of spicy salsa, and I slow cookered it just over my low, like a double broiler, but I do it or a thick kettle too. You can do it on the oven. Every single person had it, and they're like, "This is good queso." I'm like, "It's not even queso. It's white girl queso." And so I took cream cheese with a tiny bit of the really good salsa. Make sure it's a good salsa. And don't overdo it. Don't overdo your ratios. And then if you want that little bit more queso punch, like cheese, so you're always looking for cheese to have something like garlic powder or something like that umami that you're looking for. And if all else fails, you can throw in a little bit of the cheddar cheese, the organic kosher cheddar cheese. And kind of swirl that around over low or in a double broiler. That's an amazing queso. Now, you're talking about for when you're on the road, you're in a hotel room, what do you do? First of all, I want you to think about Father Abraham had many sons. He's traveling with his animals. He didn't go out to eat. What did they eat? Ingredients. Y'all have to cleanse your palate of all the salt and addictive things to which you've been addicted, and you have to be okay with the more simple things. When my grandfather went out at 8 years old to round up cattle, he would take hardtack with him. What is hardtack? Dried old crusty bread and biscuits. And you took that with you because it lasted. So you're going to, first of all, get your mindset a bit different, and because you're committed to this. Now, when I travel, I often take a 2-burner hot plate with me, my own pat kettle, and my own cast iron little pan with my own utensils. I'm just saying, that's me. It just takes up a little tin, a little bin, and you put it in there. So in a hotel room, I have cooked more meals. We have had more 5-star meals in there, but I make something simple. I bring my own meat in the cooler, right? It's like thawed burger or something. Literally, I just cook right there in the hotel room, and I make like something simple, like pasta, hamburger, tomato sauce. It's going to be simple. I don't know do it extraordinarily fancy. The other thing you can think and consider doing, make sure you wipe out the microwave in your hotel room and get those Amy's frozen dinners. Amy's dinners are no bioengineered ingredients. They are kosher. They are organic. And honestly, she does a pretty good job. You need a little bit of salt, but you can get the Amy's mac and cheese, so they fit in there. So the burritos, get some paper plates. Another option is to sit, do what I do, but I'm not normal. So, like at the dinner time when I'm traveling, I have things on hand. Like I'll open a can of tuna. I have a thing of lettuce with me. I'll dump the whole thing of tuna. I'll drain it out in the sink. Put that whole thing of tuna on the salad, put me some cottage cheese on there, some salsa, some mustard, some salt, some pepper, whatever I have. I don't even need salt and pepper. And I'll just eat right out of because I'll eat the whole salad. Like Cass was like, "How do you get 3 cups?" And I'm like, "Dude, I get like 6 cups at a meal, And I'm like, because she goes, "How do I get 3 cups of vegetables a day? That's going to kill me." I'm like, "No, it's not. Have a salad." But anyway, my point being, I'll take a container, throw it in. You can also bring chili beans, things with pop tops. Okay. So like cans of Amy's chili or your chili beans. And you could throw it in a paper bowl. You could bring paper plates and bowls with you, and you could microwave it. So you have to be creative, but where there's a will, there's always a way. You have an excuse for every problem, right? And so the other thing is, when I go to a photo session, I'll be gone for 3 to 4 hours for my photo sessions. You know what I've got with me? 2 sunflower butter jelly sandwiches. I've got fruit bars. I've got water. I've got milk. I've got munchy things, whatever that would be, saltine crackers, the organic saltine crackers, Susie's or whatever brand. I have planned. The other thing is sardines and crackers. You can get some organic crackers and sardines. I'm telling you, that you got high protein and whatnot. That's what my husband does a lot. Kipper snacks. The other, you can do like peanut butter jelly on crackers. You can take rolls of lunch meat with cheese. There are so many things to do, but no, it's not as fancy sitting at the restaurant getting served dinner. It's just not. But it's easy, it's quick. I have the sandwiches packed and made, and as I'm driving, like for my photo sessions, I just reach back and grab that, or I grab my grapes, or I grab a banana, I grab my stuff. I just have it so I can eat while I'm driving. Did that help?
It did, because I think it's just breaking down this whole, growing up, it was always a home cooked meal for dinner, home cooked meal for dinner, home cooked meal for dinner. So it's just breaking the whole thing that I have to be, Sundays is the only day I attend his baseball because, Saturday's Sabbath. So
Mhm.
Sunday I attend, and lately it's been late and I've been like starving, and I'm like, what? No, this can't be happening. So I don't know. I don't know why I didn't think it was the same as if it was a Saturday or, whatever, but I already prepped all of that for Sabbath, and then Sunday I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
So
Eating
thank
cold
you.
leftovers is fine. You don't have to have it cooked. You don't have to have it cooked. So a little funny story on my son when he was little. Mama, being a farm wife, I always had a hot cooked meal because we would be farm women. We were taught to take large kettles of food out to the farmers, right? If our guys were working in the tractors in the field at night, because when you combine, you got the headlights on. When you're on the tractor, you work all the time during harvest season. So I was raised, got to have a hot meal. So the very first time we had been pouring concrete all day, and my husband and I would pour like almost 30 yards of concrete together, the two of us. Sit down. I'm like, Jim, can I just do turkey sandwiches tonight? I am shot. I've been up with the farm, we poured concrete all day. I'm hurting. Yeah, sure. As long as he has a side dish. So my husband got some organic chips. I had these sandwiches. I sit down, my son eats his sandwich, and then he goes, so where's dinner? And I'm like, oh, well, honey, tonight we're gonna just do. And Trey was not a picky kid; he was very good. But this night he was like, "Where's dinner?" And I'm like, "Well, you just ate a sandwich." Well, and his little lips started quivering. I want something cooked. And Jim about choked, dying laughing. He goes, "Oh, boy, you better shut that mouth right now before that backhand comes out." But I knew he meant it in innocence, and we didn't backhand, but I was like, well, honey, mama's tired and this is what it is. And he's like, but I want something cooked. And I'm like, you knock it off right now or I will give you something to cry about, but we're not having something cooked tonight. And if you want to do it, then you can learn to cook right now. There's the kitchen. It was so funny. And Jim just was about dying laughing, but that just reminds me because so many of us are like, we're in that mindset. It's got to be cooked. It's got to be cooked. It's got to be cooked. No, it's okay to have a cold sandwich and be thankful for it. And we would do concrete things, and I love pickled cheese sandwiches, right? So I'm doing pickled cheese, mustard, thinking, and lettuce, all these vegetables, thinking it's amazing. My husband goes, will you stop bringing Auschwitz sandwiches? I'm like, what? He's like, dude, there's no meat. I'm like, but you don't need meat. So I did have to compromise there. Anyway, Mecca. Tyler, who has the question? I've missed you guys. I was thinking about you all weekend.
Oh, miss you too.
We miss you as well.
Well, every time I have a chocolate bar, I think of you, which is a lot because I take a few little bites every day.
So we're wondering what we should look for when we're buying like dental picks, because
Mm.
like in the stores, there's a lot of them that like almost everyone seems to have like mint or some flavoring. So I guess we're wondering like, oh, what did we look for? What did we buy?
Right. We don't really know what's in there, to be honest. And if you want to go the safest route, you can go on Amazon and they have vegan floss. Vegans are some of your best friends because sometimes they care more than other people. And they're, even though it's a little bit nutty sometimes and unbiblical, they care and they don't want those animal products in there. So you can get the vegan one. I honestly, they just don't they don't have to disclose what's put in those things. So you just don't know. But I know some toothpaste, that's a good point, Tyler. Some toothpaste, lotions, and all those in shampoos, they have unclean products. So I only use non-GMO vegan products for my hair, for my skin, because 80% of what you put on your skin goes in. I'm very cautious. I don't use anything with fragrance, anything with that. I'm extremely careful. Good question. Good analysis. Miss Laura.
Hello. So I do a whole lot of what you do, Mal, when I'm traveling. Bring my own everything. And but I was just gonna share with you guys that I also have a little heat kind of a pot ordeal that I can bring in the vehicle and plug into the cigarette lighter.
That's yeah.
and so that's been really helpful because then I can also prepare an actual meal that's already put together and all good for me. And then, if we stop, I can put it in this little heater thing and plug it in and stir it a
That's-
couple of times if I get the opportunity.
Mhm.
And then, and just it does take a little bit to heat up. So, sometimes it takes 40 minutes, sometimes an hour, depending upon what it is. But it works really, really well. And it's like, oh, it's an actual yummy
Maybe you
meal.
can link that in
Nice.
the thread on
Please.
Facebook in that
Yeah.
messenger.
I will do my best or have my husband do it because technology and myself don't really get along. But yeah, I will do that.
Yep, that's great. And I
Yeah.
saw Kim over here. She's right, because I always like in Jim's pickup and when Trey was little. Now I'm out of the picture. His wife does it, but I make sure there's nuts always in Jim's truck, like trail mix that's without the sugar, just the healthy stuff. I buy those IQ bars. I used to always have homemade breads, muffins, and stuff that he could take with. Now I had to get some fluffy off of him. And so, like I told him, I said, I can't bake you all that stuff because that made you fluffy and you just lost 23 pounds. We're not reverting. But protein balls, stuff like that. Okay, Yesenia.
I just wanted to share with Tristan a couple little ideas for like on the go. Um, like this right here is vegetables and with an apple and a little bit of ginger. And we put it in the blender. This is for my husband that we like put together because he hates eating vegetables. I don't know why he doesn't like chewing and they don't taste good, but he doesn't mind chugging them like quickly. And this is easy for him on the go. He's a detective. He's always like in the car, in an office. And then also hard boiled eggs are always like
Mhm.
easy for me because I don't like eggs, but so what I do to give them a little bit of flavor is I will soak them for a couple hours in like liquid aminos and water,
Mhm.
like I do like a 50-50. A couple hours, it gives it like good flavor, and then I throw it in my Ziploc bag, and that's a really great meal. Like if you pair something like this with some eggs, it's got your protein, your fibers, and it's easy cleanup. You don't have to worry about like the mess and stuff.
That's a great idea. I often do smoothies where I'm drinking, and then I always get in the mason jars, I always get like a line of purple smoothie up here on my nose and chocolate. So, but that's the one thing to watch out for. It could be my big Jewish nose, but it's always I get a line right here on my nose. But that's a great idea, Yesenia. And I almost always have hard-boiled eggs on hand too. I was gonna make them this morning. I'm like, no, I'm gonna give myself a day. But hard-boiled eggs, just chomp on them because high protein, healthy. And you just tell those girls, you say, Auntie Melly says, you just got to get used to the clean foods. If it's an ingredient, No
Yeah,
complaining, Lila.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Yeah, it is Lila. Well, Lily's allergic like you, shellfish, eggs. I mean, like everything. So
Mhm. Of course, Lila would be the little troublemaker. Do you hear me, girlfriend? I hope you're back there because I know you do the attitude. I love you, Miss Lila.
she is not in the car. I left her at home.
Okay.
Left her at
God,
home.
we all
I was
know
like,
Lila. She is going to be like, but I don't want that. I want some cooked food, Mom. And I could see her coming at you like that.
and you are so right. I just need chicken, Mom. Just give me chicken and a roll.
This,
Chicken
and she'll
and
be
a
like, this is
roll.
not dinner, Mom. I don't know what you're trying to serve me or fool or pull over my eyes. This is not dinner. I could totally see Lila doing that.
That's what
Okay.
I tell her, it's like I'm trying to control her like little personality because when she gets fired up for God and someone tells her
Yep.
something like at school, when she was in school, honey, she would be like, no, that doesn't say that in the Bible. I mean, just blunt, just cutthroat blunt. And she'd be like, you need to read your Bible more. So it's just trying to make it a little bit more like sweeter.
we
Like,
have a few people we're sweetening up in our fellowship, don't we?
yeah. Yeah.
Let's do it. Like Miss Cassandra said the other day, she goes, I'm trying to do it in a love sandwich. I got to put the truth in a love sandwich. She goes, because I'll just come out and tell you the truth and it's a little bit bitter. She goes, so I'm learning to love sandwich it. Say the nice thing first.
I'm listening to like how Danielle and Melissa will say things, and they'll be like, I just really love this person. They're wonderful. And then they'll say the thing, but they're just so great. I love them so much. And I just don't say the front and back end of that sentence. I just say the middle. So I'm like, I sat there for a second. I was like, I think of something nice. I say something nice. Now I can say what I want to say.
Well, and it's not, it's like, so if I'm going to somebody, I'll always say something nice. You're amazing at this. And then let's work on this. And so if somebody asks me, what is your discernment on this person? I'll be like, they're amazing. They're great. They're a child of God. And Cass is like, the other day she called me out. She goes, okay, so what's wrong with the person? Like, what is the spirit saying? Because like, obviously you know, you see how much did in niceness. Now what? And it's so funny. But I love them, and so I always want to speak the life over them. But I gotta tell you, well, but they got a little bit of wolfness in there, you know, or something. Just be careful. Just love them.
Okay, well, Miss Sarah, I'm making chili this weekend, and I said I was gonna make some bread bowls, which I'm gonna cut half
Mhm,
white flour and half whole wheat.
mhm.
Um, and she was like, well, let's make cornbread. I was like, cornbread's not healthy. And now she wants to know if cornbread's healthy.
Cornbread's absolutely not healthy, and you will always be fluffy and chunky with cornbread. Now, cornbread is a treat you work into your macro count. So I love cornbread, and you can cut it with whole wheat flour. And since cornbread already has a coarse consistency, and I use the extra coarse cornbread because I like that, ooh, that gritty flavor in cornbread. Hi, guys. Welcome to join us. Cornbread's not healthy at all. Super high carbs. How do we make cows fat? Corn. Well, you want to make a human fat? Start feeding them corn. So you want some fluffiness around you? Corn. There's no such thing as a healthy cornbread. You can make it healthier, but I absolutely guarantee you cannot make healthy cornbread. However, don't cut out your favorite foods. I eat chocolate every day. Yes, with organic sugar in it. I eat chocolate every day. But you know what? All throughout the day, my breakfast is like eggs and high protein and cottage cheese and lettuce and I'm eating healthy, 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 healthy. I definitely give myself plenty of room to have that chocolate every single day. And so if you eat cornbread, like now, bread bowls are actually kind of fun. I form mine in the oven over like little metal things I have. So I get this. The other thing is bread bowls aren't much healthier. I'm just going to be honest because you just factored in so many carbs and stuff to chili. Chili's already one of the, it's not really healthy. Protein of beans doesn't outweigh the carbs of beans. I will say this, chili can be healthy, but there's a ton of carbs in chili, and you can definitely stay nice and fluffy eating a chili diet because it's not actually a healthy source of protein. Beans are not something that's super healthy. So I watch my chili. I do chili like once a month because if I do chili every day, even I feel the little fluffy, like bloating stuff because beans are so high in carbs. However, beans are also high in fiber, and beans do have some protein, like 7 to 9 grams of protein per serving. So they're good, they're healthy, but if you eat it with bread, no matter what, make sure the rest of the day you're lightening up your carb load. So let's do for breakfast like a 2 or 3 egg omelet with just veggies with no bread. And then lunch have like a chicken salad, something like that. Then guess what? At night, if you're going to have your chili and bread bowls or chili and cornbread, because I love cornbread. I do make cornbread and I always allow myself to eat it because cornbread's one of my favorites. It has to be made with buttermilk, by the way. If you skip the buttermilk, may as well not even make cornbread. But
I just want to say that I never eat chili. The house has just been asking for chili.
right.
So I was like, okay, I'll make chili. And I'm adding beef to it.
Yeah, I am gonna say it's
And she
definitely,
wants to know if corn chips is okay. What's up with this chip with the corn?
well, corn is again a fattener. So you eat corn chips, you're still fat. Like you're still fluffy toughy. I'm just saying. So corn
I'm trying
chips,
to make whole wheat bread.
right? And whole wheat bread is better. You know, because we do need a certain amount of carbs to fuel the mitochondria of our cells. If we don't have carbs and we start getting depleted on carbs too much, corn's not the healthiest one. But corn chips are fried in oil, so you got bad oil, you got a bad refined carb. I'm just saying, corn chips are not the best. If you're going to start eating, so if let's say you want nachos, let's make homemade tortilla chips. Let's take some of Cass's homemade tortillas, do them, you know, whole wheat. So 2/3 whole wheat, 1/3 white flour with your water, a little bit of butter. So roll them out, and guess what? Bake them in an oven, get them nice and crispy. Here's the thing. Health doesn't happen by default. Good health, you have to be intentional. Your taste buds. So human taste buds for the satiation of life always wants depravity. We always want the lust of the flesh. The same thing happens with our taste buds physically. Okay. So if you want to be healthy, you have to overcome that too. Your belly is our bellies are our God. And America is fat for a reason. Over 80% of Americans are overweight. I mean, come on.
I switched my pancake recipe to half white, half whole wheat.
Good job.
And because my pancake recipe is phenomenal, it actually came out good.
Yeah, as long as you use buttermilk. So here's the one thing when you remember, when you start incorporating whole wheat flour, make sure you add buttermilk. Why? Because that acidic nature of the buttermilk in there, that little stuff, it'll start to, it like gives it more leavening power. It lightens it up. And make sure you increase the hydration just a touch. And for my, like when I'm making cornbread, I use honey, no sugar. I use honey. Again, still a sweetener. My body still metabolizes it almost similarly, but there are nutrients in it and it is healthier. So when I do the cornbread dinner, it's very rarely. I do cornbread like twice a year because you feel a big difference. When your body, when you get back to the point, like if you are so in tune in your body with the whole foods, the minute, Yesenia, because she started to feel it, the minute, oh, did she go? Oh, no, the minute you eat, because I remember her talking about at the beginning of this thing, the minute you eat that wrong thing, your body's going to revolt. Your joints are going to swell. You're going to feel lethargic. You're going to feel lazy. You're going to feel bloaty. You will start to like how you feel so much. My husband said that because he likes cakes and cookies. His very first word was cookie. I kid you not. He didn't say mama, daddy. He said cookie. Until, so what he said was, though, he goes, I honestly understand now, Mel, what you're saying. We've only been married 28 years. I've only been into health the whole time. And he said, I like how I feel. Like I want that cookie, but I like how I feel. I understand now what you're saying. You can resist, like there's a German chocolate cake there. It'll go untouched with me. I love German chocolate cake. I love carrot cake. It'll go untouched. Why? Because I like how I feel more than the addictive, like quick fix of that sugar. I like how I feel. I don't like how I feel on those foods. The sweet bread, the rich breads, I don't like how I feel on them. Do I love the taste? Absolutely. Who doesn't? I'm not dumb, but I'm not controlled by my food, just like I'm not controlled by my flesh. I like drinking. I love to be drunk. Every night of the week, I had a different bar to go to. I like smoking. I'm just being completely honest. I enjoy it. You know what? I haven't touched it in 20 some years. Why? Because I like my God and I love the intimacy I feel with him more. I love hearing his voice. I love his kisses on my face. I love my God. And I love the communion with him more than I love the feeling of my flesh. And that's this whole connection of mind, body, spirit. Miss Tristan, did you just forget to take your hand down or do you have another question? I can't remember if you took it down and came it back up.
I have another quick question. It was actually in regards to men's deodorant or boys deodorant. If anyone can give me, I've got the EO for me and the girls, but for the deodorant, I use for men or what to buy.
Urban
Because
Cowboy?
anything that I buy or cook, Urban Cowboy.
So HERBAN Cowboy has been the only deodorant that I have found to work on men. Those crystals, I'm sorry, some of y'all. Crystals do not work on men. And the crystal salt and stuff. Woo! We got some ripe smelling fellows in that community of healthiness there. So Urban Cowboy, you can get it up like at Natural Grocers online, HERBAN. There's the EO for, I don't know if they make a scent for men. There's a few other sports ones that are in that organic type of vein line, like Jason's. I don't know if Jason's works, but I just know I get Urban. It looks like Herban, but it's Urban Cowboy, HERBAN for my husband. I've done that for many years. And it smells
And
so.
lotion suggestions.
So
that are like
lotion, I use Desert Essence. Desert Essence used to be certified organic. Now it's not, but there's still vegan, whatever. Desert Essence, I like the coconut one or the, there's a fragrance free, there's almond, there's all different ones. I like the, for very much, I like the coconut one. Also, there is Andalou, ANDALOU Organics. They're a clean brand. They work pretty well and it feels pretty good. There's a few other companies. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
Can someone put that in the chat? I'm almost home. That
Okay,
way,
and also,
in the group chat.
right, and also Tristan, yeah, so somebody, yeah, we'll put those things in the chat over on the Healthy Habits, and just remind me later, Tristan, and I can get you links. The other thing is, you can make, I have on there the collection of make your own soaps and deodorants and recipes and stuff like that. I do have the collection on the Healthy Habits page. So if you're looking how to make your own deodorant, detergents and stuff like that, there are little things on there that I have to help you as well. Okay.
Okay, I'll start doing that later.
Yeah, exactly. Kimberly, Melima.
Okay, so we are gonna switch over to the no sugar stuff. But I'm scared to, I mean, maple and honey, I understand, but I'm scared to use like the date sugars and whatever, stuff like that, just because I feel like it doesn't have, or coconut sugar too, but which one's the better one to use that's more, like in desserts that's a little bit more, not gonna leave it dry? Because I've noticed that they come out
Honey.
super dry.
Okay, yeah, honey is going to be your best. Coconut sugar has a desiccation, and the way it dries out foods, it makes it crunchy. I hate cooking with coconut sugar unless the recipe is something for coconut-based food. So I'm always going to tell people to avoid coconut sugar, and there's very little health. I mean, I know people believe what the Google says. I'm telling you, as somebody who studied this for many years, coconut sugar is not much healthier than regular cane sugar. There's honestly organic cane sugar in limitations actually has vitamin B as well. It has zinc, it has nutrients. It's just watch what you're doing, use it in moderation. Now, date sugar is just purified dates, but most men are going to hate that. Austin would probably be able to find with, honestly, because of Austin, he's probably fine with it. You guys are from California, not to say anything about Californians, but because he's kind of more used to that mindset where things are sometimes more healthy. I'm just saying it's very, very expensive though. And so it doesn't usually seem worth it to me. And so if I'm going to make a cake, I use organic certified cane sugar, but I don't, you know what I mean? I you can cut it by thirds. So when you make a cake recipe and you're putting in a cup and a half of sugar, you can definitely go down to like a half a cup of sugar. You can also use honey. I do a lot of cooking with organic honey, the stuff you get from Costco. So there was one of my friends got very confused about this because I was trying to tell her children because they were like, this is raw honey. I'm like, well, it's raw honey, but it's been heated up to be liquefied like that. And the one person in our fellowship didn't understand all that. So if you actually have raw honey, you're scooping it out with a spoon. Like it's literally solid, okay? Raw honey is solid. So when you get the stuff at Costco and it's saying raw honey, that's a bit misleading. Because when I get my honey, there's actually leg parts at the top. I skim all that off and I go below. Well, yeah, because it's raw honey. They physically took it from the hive. No, don't gross out. It all goes into a layer right at the top and I skim it off. So it never touches my mouth, never touches my body. What happens to actually, you probably have more impurities in like the liquefied honey at Costco. You want to know why? Because they heat it and they, blend it a little bit or like whip it, not whip it, but centrifugal force type thing. They use this thing to like spin it to make it like stabilize as a liquid. Guess what? You can't tell what you got in there now. In that raw honey, you can see everything. And it just like the honey, all those bug parts come if you let it sit about 3 months. And it all comes up to the top and you scoop it off and then you go to the solid stuff. And the white honey looks like whipped honey almost, or the raw honey looks like almost white honey. So Kim, when you're doing your recipes, I would go to honey first. Maple syrup, the modern maple syrup has been so misleading in our industry that what was even labeled organic, I can tell you, I can feel it. There's corn because they've been allowing them to put corn syrup in the maple syrup and you can feel it. My body is the canary in the gold mine because I have eaten healthy so many years. As soon as they switch the organic maple syrup, and you always want to go with grade A, if you can find somebody, Nate and Holly Tatnam on our fellowship, they sell it from their farm. If you can get somebody who actually makes it from the farm, you're fine. You're going to pay a price for it. But I could tell the minute they started switching in at Costco, because my blood sugar, I started to get dizzy. I was like, whoa, what happened? And the Lord would say, maple syrup. So I just don't even eat maple syrup anymore at all because even the organic stuff they're cutting it with something. And I can promise you that because I feel it in my blood sugar levels. I am like literally the canary in the coal mine. And so I just don't. And so if you're going to eat maple syrup, make sure you go to a small company that actually is getting it from the farm. You can see the grade. The grade A maple syrup is dark and amber. It's rich. It's amazing. And it's the small companies, and you're going to pay an arm and a leg for it. But the taste is amazing. Okay, go ahead, Kim.
Okay, so because I've been debating about this too, because I don't have a sugar addiction, but I just thought I'd start lowering my sugar. So it seems like from what you're saying that it's almost easier to do a less sugar and controlled sugar than it is to actually substitute it, right?
And it gives people a false sense of hope. There, I'm the one who says, "Okay, fall off the cliff. I warned you once." Like, because people will argue with me. I literally had a whole health food store. I was literally on the radio once a week. I'm like, you know what I mean? And so people will argue with me. Well, we're eating maple syrup now and honey, so it's fine. And I'm like, just wait. If you're eating that much maple syrup, it's still going to catch up with you. When you look at actual scientific studies of the way your glycemic index reacts to honey, maple syrup, and sugar, it's a conspiracy where they try to say it's so healthier. Really. It's the moderation. It's any forms of sugar in any capacity are going to affect your blood sugar, right? If you are eating white flour, it acts exactly like sugar. So here's the thing. I'm like, so people think like, well, I cut out sugar now. I'm so much healthier. I'm like, well, that's a start. That is a start. I'm not gonna lie. But if you actually want to get to this place of true health, you're going to have to be like me, where I drink like my milk drink, my hot chocolate with no sweetener at all. I don't use sweetener. And when I do, I save it for things like 2 nights ago, I just made myself a giant cup of hot mint tea with a giant tablespoon of raw honey because that's my sweetener. That's my, and I love it. But I knew that honey is not going to affect my body much different than sugar. I have to be careful. I'm not going to overdo it. Does that make sense? Oh, Haley has a question. You're on mute, sweetie. We can't hear you. Oh, there she is. Well, I can't hear
Sorry.
her. Oh, there you are.
I was just gonna ask you about oh, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. I was gonna ask you about Greek yogurt because I like to use Greek yogurt a lot to add it to smoothies and whatever I can because it's extra protein and whatnot. But I've struggled finding a good one that's I don't know. It's just I can find ones that like the Nancy's one, that check all the boxes, but it is super expensive. So I don't know if you had any other pointers
Yes,
or whatnot.
Costco. Oh, I'm going to Billings Thursday. I could pick it up for you. You could, I get it to you on Sabbath. So
Okay.
Costco has a really big, good Greek yogurt one. I don't know why my hands did that. So the other thing is you can take and make your own yogurt. So get from Walmart, they have the Stonyfield organic whole milk yogurt with probiotics. It has live active cultures. Take a mason jar, take like a quart mason jar, put a third of that, even to up to a half, depending on how thick you like your yogurt. You fill it with the yogurt, and then you fill it with whole milk or 2% organic milk. Raw milk's fantastic, but not everybody has that. So use organic. Then don't put it in the oven yet. Turn on your oven for exactly 4 minutes. Now, this is on the Healthy Habits thing, but you turn your oven on for 4 minutes. Just push on. It'll go to 350 by default. Make sure it goes for 4 minutes. If you have a colder environment, go for 6 minutes. That's fine. 4 minutes, and then turn it off. Exactly off. Turn on your oven light. So this is going to have to be done after you're done cooking for the day, right? So at night, at bedtime, that oven light is now on at the back of your oven. And then you take that container, you should have 2 to 3 of them because you took that yogurt and you split it out over containers. You loosely put a plastic lid on it. So you left about a head space, about an inch to inch and a half. Head space means the top of the jar, from the top of the jar to going down, how much space there is for this fermentation process to happen. Because these are alive. This is a living thing. You put it then in your oven in front of that light overnight for 8 to 12 hours. If at any point you notice it's gotten too cool in there, and when you're sloshing the jar, once the lid's tight, you're sloshing it and it's too runny, heat that up, take everything out, heat it up again for a couple more minutes, and just do it again. It'll usually take 8 to 12 hours. Once you have it to that, and I'll do another video on that maybe this next week. Once you have it to that consistency, then you take cheesecloth or like a tea towel over a bowl, throw that yogurt in it in the fridge covered overnight, and all that yogurt gets, that's all Greek yogurt is strained out. All the whey is strained out even farther. So all the like the watery stuff, and then you just squeeze it out at the end. You got your homemade Greek yogurt, again, for pennies on the dollar. But Walmart and Albertsons have cheaper, the big tubs of O's Organic, not at Walmart, but at like Albertsons, they have the big containers, the not the big ones that Costco has, but this size, like 1 quart containers of Greek yogurt, fairly inexpensive, like $5.98. And so Greek yogurt is a great thing. So for me, I don't add sweeteners to my smoothies. But what are the natural sweeteners? Fruit. In creation, God gave us natural sweeteners. Bananas, berries, apples. My husband, during his 23 days where he was cutting weight, he ate an apple with almond butter or an apple with unsweetened peanut butter every single day. He's like, who knew that I would start to crave this? I said, exactly. Your mind reset, and now you're eating an apple with the peel on, the whole apple with that sunflower butter, peanut butter, almond butter, whatever it is. So start to do those things for your sweetener. And so instead of even baking a cake, and this is why in your home, as you get detoxified and as you get less sweetened, less of your foods are going to be cooked. I'm just saying. You're still going to cook, but you're going to end up seeing like, oh, I'm not baking a dessert. I am slicing an apple with an almond butter, right? With almond butter. I am, this is where your everything will push you, because the more you're going to get in tune with your body, every time you eat anything that's baked or like with the grains and stuff, you're going to feel bogged down. You're going to start liking how you feel with the natural foods, the pure foods, that you're not going to want to go back. And so I will occasionally make myself those blueberry muffins I love, but afterwards I'm like, ugh, I can't eat it again for months. I feel gross. I love them, but I feel like crap. And it's not worth feeling like that to me. Do I love my homemade pizza? Absolutely, but it's made on a rich bread and I just feel like crap. So if you're going to make pizza, here's what you could do tonight. Take some ground beef or some ground chicken, mash it up with some roasted veggies, mash it all up, make that for your crust, put your toppings on there. Even if it's just cheese, you're going to feel so much better eating that than if you had eaten it on bread. So with your chili, I would encourage you not to make bread bowls, because I'm just saying you can do it, but if you do it, you better counter the day before or the day after, because that is a heavy carb load and you're going to feel weighed down.
Taco pizza, you guys, is so bomb.
Yeah,
Who would have thought? It sounds crazy, but you just, you throw, I like to put a lot of vegetables on it, like bell pepper, onion, cilantro, and even lettuce on top for like the crunch. Bella. So, yeah, with the ground beef, with the taco seasoning from Azure Standard, so delicious. So everybody loves it in this house.
I know. Right. So taco pizza, here's another thing you can do. You can take that ground beef with the taco seasoning, and I always like on my pizza refried beans. Sounds weird, but so I make it with the cheese and the refried beans. So you do meat. I can't do meat right now, but I could do other things. I can take lentils, form them into a crust, but you take your meat base and then you put your toppings and then your cheese, but you could put refried beans in the middle of it. When it comes out, you slice fresh lettuce and tomatoes on top. It's amazing. And cilantro, yeah. So you literally, you guys, you have to rethink how you've been cooking. That's why some of my recipes, like poor Judd and Morgan's like, Judd won't even eat it. I'm like, well, he's missing out. And I tease him all the time. I'm like, then you're just going to be fluffy your whole life. You're just going to be unhealthy your whole life. But you have to rebrand it. Our father Abraham didn't eat an American diet. Our fathers, our forefathers were healthy because they ate goat cheese, goat milk. They didn't have the breads. And so if they would have sprouted breads, they had vegetables and fruits and meat. We have to rethink. The American diet is killing us. And doesn't that spiritually make sense? Because the American diet is killing us. Oh yeah, those biscuits and gravies taste good. But go to my website, go to the Patreon page, find the almond ones. Yesenia's tried them. I know she's tried them, right? They're good. Do the cloud ones. The cloud ones I have. It's egg whites with almond flour. No, that one, I don't think I had almond flour in that one. Anyway, I make these ones where there's almond flour biscuits. Like my husband always says, they taste fantastic. I make hamburger buns that are made of egg whites over there. You're going to have to it takes you kicking yourself in gear. You have to overcome that stomach god. It is a whole new way of thinking. And yes, you're going to, for a while, miss that dang cheeseburger with 15 layers of cheese and grease and turkey bacon, all these things. But if you want a cheeseburger, let's do this. Let's do a cloud bun or a lettuce leaf. And I know some of you just groaned at me. But I'm saying you start to do a bunless cheeseburger, okay? So let's make it, yeah, we got the burger with an avocado, and we got the cheese, and we got the lettuce on top, and we got the onions, and we got a picante type sauce on top, and you make it amazing, and you serve it like that, and that becomes your new way of thinking. You're not eating all these carbs. It's not wrong to have some carbs, but the carbohydrates we should have are whole grains. Quinoa, organic brown rice, right? Or whole wheat flour. Even better is sprouted organic whole wheat flour. Does this start to make sense? That it's a whole way of thinking, and your husbands are going to kick and scream. Sometimes those are the biggest ones until they get to the point where my husband was, okay, I need to lose weight. And when he realized, he goes, holy cow, I didn't know. My son, I kept telling him he was fat. Leave it to a mom. I'm like, I see you're overweight. And he's like, I'm thin. I'm like, nope, I can tell you're overweight. He goes, whatever. He stopped eating out, stopped eating the GMOs and lost 15 pounds in like 2 weeks. He goes, Mom, I think I have cancer. I'm like, no, you don't have cancer, dork. Your grandfather was 6'4", 155 pounds. Look at your mother. 5'8", barely a buck. I'm like, you have genetics that this is how you should look. I eat 24, 27, 3,200 calories a day. He goes, I just keep eating and I'm losing weight. I'm like, exactly. It's the processed foods, all the high carbs that are killing us. It's the sugar. And the same thing I tell you guys spiritually in the Torah. You're not going to get to be the bride if you still want to eat some of the harlot's milk. If you want the cornbread from the harlot church, I just said that, a teaser. If you want the cornbread from the whorehouse, you're still going to be
Sarah
able to
literally just went, oh, come on.
But I am saying, if energy is good, we've got to get it in the way God created, from the whole grains, from the whole wheat berries, from the sprouted bread, the whole wheat, whatever. If you want to get there spiritually, you also have to cut. You have to make choices, okay? And so as you're making this lifestyle choice, you have to remember one thing. I taught everybody who came in my store, the families, when they would come into me, like, okay, let's get this, clean up my diet. They would say, I would say, there's no such thing as cheap food. Why are you here? Well, because I'm sick. Where did the cheap food get you? Fat, lethargic, sick, pre-diabetic, unhealthy. So did that cheap food that you ingested make you look pretty strong? Are you feeling good right now? Are you feeling good with the diet you've been eating? Do you look good? Are you healthy? Are you exemplifying the behavior of God in your life? Like, do you look like Yahweh has you look? Are you looking how God designed you to look? Or are you a little pear-shaped? Mecca's like, I'm not. Right? What made you the shape or the form you are? Not the healthy food, was it? It wasn't the good choices. It was the easy, lazy choices. Now, spiritually, what got you in trouble with Yahweh? What made you be spiritually in bed with the devil? Why were you doing Christmas? Why were you doing all those things? Why? Because you were spiritually lazy. And so as you make the transformation to become more spiritually godly, you will transform physically. And some of you are in a place, and we've talked about this privately, I won't call anybody out. Some of you are heavy because as soon as you came to Torah, you got heavier because Yah wanted you to see how he sees you. And if you are still heavy, what he told me to tell this person the other day is, well, that's how he sees you. He sees where you're still out of shape. He sees where you got some fluffy. And he's going to help you overcome that. And so, while it's not always easy and you can't control your husband, okay? We've been married 28 years. Now, it helped at my restaurant. You know what? My husband did. He goes, man, I loved coming into your restaurant at lunch. You had the hot bar. I was just there. I could just come in. I got to eat out every day. It was a different choice of meal. He goes, it was nice. He goes, I missed that. I said, I miss it too, but I missed sleep at the time and I would be dead. I can't work 115 hours a week anymore. But it was the food because my food at that store was all organic, made from scratch, high Shaley. And there was a lot of low carb options that they would just naturally take because for the hot grain, I had cilantro and lime quinoa. And you know how many men tried it because it was just there on the hot bar? And they're like, man, there was one guy, he was like the most unhealthy person I've ever seen in my life. He loved my wheat berry salad, tomatoes, peppers, onions, lime, and salt in quinoa. And wheat berries. I would do that same combination. He loved it, but you got to make sure you can smell it. If you can't taste the lime, keep going. Okay. So I hope that inspired you. I hope that gave you some ideas. You're going to have to adjust not just your physical, not just your spiritual, right? Ideas of life, but your physical. And it really does take work. And like Cass yesterday, I was so pleased with her. She was like, no, I am going to make this. I'm not stopping. I want to make it to the end. Her old self was not that girl. Her old self would have been like, this lady's crazy. This chick is crazy. I ain't listening to this lazy lady. She's trying to push me up there. I don't need to be a skinny toothpick like her. I'm going to eat like that. I'm going to like my food. And I'm going to eat my carbs. I'm going to do it. Right? But now Cass is like, no, I'm listening. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get healthy. So, what did you say?
I said I'm working on it.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is Cass's testimony is actually pretty beautiful. She came to Torah and lost 60 pounds immediately. Like she just went whoop, and then she plateaued. And then she goes, I don't know what's wrong. I said, well, because you got still fat in you spiritually and stuff. You just came to Torah. Like you're going to have a whole lifetime of progression. You can't skip any stage. So now you got to up it. And she's like, well, I said, you're not eating enough. So I upped her calories. She goes, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, oh, trust me, up your calories. She calls me complaining all the time or texting me, I can't eat all this food. Do you really expect me to eat all this food? I'm like, yeah, I do actually eat it. And what happened? She goes,
I actually need to do another reset thingy.
okay, good. Well, we'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll do
I
it.
need my macros measured out again and stuff.
Yep. And it's not, and so, yes, and that's where we do our one-on-ones because sometimes your body will start to plateau, but she lost another 20 pounds as soon as we did that. I upped her calories and she's like, this is crazy. She always thinks everything's crazy if it's not from her brain, but I'm just saying. So she's like, this is crazy. I'm like, give it a try. You're going to have to. So took her up to about 1,800 calories a day. And then she's like, I'm losing weight. I'm like, you think? I might know a thing or two. And then now what we've got to do, she ain't gonna like. Because we are going to, yes, she's switching to whole wheat carbs, but we're going to have to do a carb reduction, keeping her calories up high and more activity. And she's going to she's not going to look at the number on the scale. It's her pants have got to get shrunk. And so we're going to build muscle.
I've been seeing that. I've been noticing that because I'm like the way in the scale's like teetering between like 3 pounds. Like I'll go from like one, like I'm just like 3 pounds back and forth. But my pants are not fitting me.
Right. That's good.
I'm like,
So she's shrinking. Exactly. She's walking. But yesterday before our walk, we all were doing planks on the wall. I said, okay, before we go, let's do some planks. And then I made a squat. And I'm like, we have to start building our muscle. And it all makes a difference, doesn't it? Awesome. Okay, the hot sauce, somebody just said it and I gotta stop. Hot sauce, Lola's hot sauce is vegan organic. I've called the company. It's an amazing one. You can get it like it's like $16 and some cents for a big like a big jar of it. Amazing hot sauce. You can get all 3 different levels. My husband warned you not to go to the hottest one because you will have snot dripping. It is that hot and Jim likes it hot. But Lola's hot sauce, it doesn't say labeled kosher, but we've called the company, we've done all the checking. It's vegan and organic or non-GMO verified at least. Lola's hot sauce. You can order directly from them. Free shipping if you do like $50 or more, something like that. I can't remember what it is. We just order enough bottles, put it in the thing, and it's a really good hot sauce. I just accidentally found it in Texas a couple years ago when I was, because again, when we go on vacation, I cook. We don't eat out, and so I'm like looking for. I'm like, ooh, this looks like a good hot sauce. It's all good. So Lola's hot sauce. I think you can. I don't know, but it's LOLA.
Amazon or is your standard?
Don't go to Amazon, go to the company because they ship. They're good about their shipping and it's like
Okay.
free shipping. Amazon, like it charges so much more for it. So Lola's hot sauce on their site. I often just order direct from companies. Another one like Teton Waters, they're all grass-fed and finished, no GMOs, no they're grass-fed and finished beef and there's products. I order directly from them. You got to order more to get free shipping, but it's worth it. I throw it in the freezer. And now here's the thing.
What was the
Beans
beef again? I'm sorry.
Teton Waters. They had
Tea.
one product that was like pork, but it is like I know that it's fine because I called the company and the Lord told me to order them and they don't cross-contaminate that. So in a factory, in a facility, when they have different, because all your meats are processed in facilities where they have all different things. But they always have to do their lamb and their beef first. They have to break everything down, clean it, and then they do any pork products. And the lamb and the beef is already out of the way. So that's good to know. For those of you who didn't know, USDA standards there. Okay. There. Okay. I love you guys. And we'll quit the recording and then in a few days I'll put it back on. I'll put it on that little thread over there. And I love you. I love you, Brinley. Oh, you're so precious. Okay. I love you all. Love you all. Bye 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 bye.
Love you. Thank
Love you. Bye.
Bye guys.
Thank
Well,
you.
guys. Thank you guys.
Thank-
Yesenia, I'll call you while I'm driving. Does that work? Okay.